Folks, without a winning attitude, you're in trouble. You got to live it. You got to preach it. You have got to get involved and get in your head a winning attitude.
The one thing that just fired me up is I've always done what I wanted to do in my life, and I've always been passionate about what I was doing in my life, and I still am. So I'm sitting there in the closet reading my policies. Nita comes in and she says, "Do we have some of those?" And I said, "Not some of them, we have 9 of them." The first call I made after I saw the policies was not back to the person that had invited me to the meeting. It was to my agent. And we basically what I call a come to Jesus meeting. This is a true story. I laid my pistol on his desk and I said, "We're going to play a little game here. I'm going to show you mine and you're going to show me yours." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Your insurance policies, because I'm sure you own what you sold me." So you sit there and you see those things happen and it's your real life. And I just was on fire about what was right. We were fortunate. In Texas, we had temporary license in, so I could get licensed in about 3 weeks.
Well, Art always told us in the beginning that we didn't have to worry about sales if we had a lot of prospecting and presentations and policy pickups. He says, don't worry about counting the sales, count your presentations, count your policy pickups, and the sales will come.
I was actually picking up policies by the grocery sacks full. Not just 1 or 2, but the grocery sacks full. I actually still hold the record, I think, for the largest first check ever cut to a rep, $5,563 and a penny. So for a policeman and a school teacher, we were pretty excited. The one risk that people don't take sometimes is not taking a risk, and I think that's probably one of the worst things you can do is at not least try. I couldn't understand why we had to notify the other company that we're replacing their State Farm policy. If I'm driving a Ford and I traded in on a Chevrolet, by golly, Chevrolet doesn't have to call Ford and say, "Well, Neal's trading in his Ford. You want to come talk to him and see if you can get him to buy another Ford?" Because it was always aimed at us. But one of the things that they found out in several of the states, they would hurriedly make a law, and then they found out they had to abide by it too. But you know what? We operated under the law, we did it right, and we still kicked their butt.
When I came in and I heard A.L.Williams for the first time and he says, 85% of the people aren't going to make it. You know what I said? I feel sorry for those 85, but me and 14 going to have a good time.
I know I'm Art's favorite. It's obvious, okay? And I mean, others may not know it, but see, I know that because he makes me feel that way. I was out on a crusade, and I spent the next 19 years kicking butt.
Wow. Thank y'all. This is, y'all see what I'm wearing? I had a blue one on. I got a red one on now, you know. Anyway, it is great to be here, and I'm excited about the opportunity to speak to y'all. Tell you a little bit about our background and our story. You heard a little bit of it on the video there. I'd never seen that. So that's pretty tough, Bobby. The pollen was getting in my eyes, too. And so anyway, it's great to be here. I want y'all to know, first and foremost in our lives, we thank God every day. For a blessed life. Woo! We do have a blessed life. And then the second thing I got to thank God for every day is Nita. Woo! She is, I feel so stupid right now, okay? But anyway, real men cry. It's okay. She's in a wheelchair. I don't know if you saw her up here. She's fighting her sciatica nerve for about 10 days. I can't even believe she made the trip. But she said, I wouldn't miss it for anything. So she's here. And what a blessing she's been to us and our family. She's always been the one that was the rock. She was the one that when it was tough, she'd give me a kick in the butt. This is crazy. I'll do this with y'all, but I want y'all to know when I was out there in the day, hell, ain't nobody seen me crying then, okay? I might shoot them. So anyway, Nita told me a lot of things when we were in the business and in our lives. And the thing about that I love her about it, October will be 53 years that we've been married. And we've had a great life. She was always willing to tell me things that I needed to hear, not just what I wanted to hear. And some of y'all understand that. And if you don't have a partner that does that, you need one, because they'll tell you the truth. And they'll keep you straight, make you a better person for it. Super wife, super mother, super Mimi. And she keeps it all together. And we love her for it. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but when we started the Partners Organizations and Angela and they put together, in 1982, they inducted the first Partners Hall of Fame members, and Nita was in it. I wasn't in the Hall of Fame, which tells you something, but she was, and well-deserved every day, well-deserved. And then next, I thank God every day in our lives for sending A.L.Williams to us. Whew. Changed our lives, folks. Unbelievable. So anyway, just to talk a little bit about it, I'm gonna get through this. I'll be real quick in just a second. And but that's the things that are emotional to me still in my life. I had a little incident in the hospital here in January, and I had a little heart condition, and I really had never had anything before, and I was having an endoscopy, and they overjuiced me, I think, and put me into AFib. I'd never had any problems with my heart, no blockage, no plaque, no anything. But I came out of there, and I didn't know what was going on. But they told Nita, says, "Here, has you ever had any heart conditions before?" And she goes, "No." And he said, "Well, we're going to send him across the street to the cardiology place because he's in AFib." Well, we didn't even know what AFib was. I thought it's when you told a fib and you got your butt whipped. But I was in it, and I have told a fib or two. Like Art said, we exaggerate a little bit. But anyway, we were sitting there, and so we end up over to the cardiologist. He says, "Yeah, you're an AFib, you never had any problems, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to put you on a blood thinner, and then we're going to check you out." So a couple of months later, I still had AFib. They hit me with the paddles, and that didn't do it. Then they ran the deals up my groin, and got in there into my heart. And started with their machines, they get over there like on their Game Boys, and they start playing in your heart, and you go like, "Man, I hope this dude isn't trying to kill somebody up there. I hope he's wanting to fix me." And so anyway, we sat there and we did that, and I told the doctor before we did this, I sure hope you're a believer, because I know God knows my heart, and I hope he'll tell you what to do in there. So and it went well. 4 years, 4 months or 4 hours later, whatever it was, after that we got out of there, and no AFib since then, no problems. But I still taking the blood thinner. I was supposed to get off of it in January, and we were in Virginia visiting Alan, our son's here, helping his mama, thank him. And I sat there and I go like, I'm not feeling real good, but I'm not going to say really anything to anybody, and we're going to go home in a couple of days, and so I'll go see the doctor there. And but I didn't get to do that. We were leaving that morning. We were in the hotel, and I was in the bathroom and got dizzy and fell and hit my head on the shower deal. And I had a big old cut there and one across my nose, and I was bleeding like a stuck pig. And anyway, so scared Nita to death. She calls 911, and I'm kind of out of it, and there's blood everywhere, and scared her, and they come in there, and I'm laying in the floor. And you got to picture this. It's not a pretty sight, I'm sure it wasn't a pretty sight at all, okay? You don't even have to imagine it, okay? And anyway, they come in and they ask you the questions, do you know who you are? And I was not incoherent, but I wasn't really in it. And I said, yeah, I told them my name, and they said, well, has there been any domestic violence here or anything like that? And honest to God, I looked up at him and I said, well, it's been worse. And she stepped in at that point and said, he does not know what he's saying, okay? And But anyway, so we go out, and then they ask me this. If you've never been asked this, they ask me, do you have a DNR? And I said, yeah. He says, well, what do you want to do? I said, don't resuscitate me. Nita goes, he does not know what he's saying. Resuscitate him if he goes away here, you know. So they go in the ambulance, and we're fixing to pull off in the ambulance, and we hear this. And it's her at the back door of the ambulance. They open the door up, and she says, you do understand. You do resuscitate him on the way to the hospital if something happens. So anyway, we made that. I didn't get there. It was not a good experience. I'd stayed in the hospital for 5 days and got 6 units of blood. As I told you, I had bled out. And it was a tough time there. And so anyway, after a full day in the emergency room with all that going on, then I spent a couple of days in ICU, and I really shocked them about the third day. They were all in there, the doctors and a couple of nurses and Nita and everything. I said, oh, one thing I forgot to tell y'all, Jesus said hi. And they wanted to laugh, but they weren't sure, you know, so it's good. So hey, just a little bit of the early years in our lives, okay? Because it's like Georgia said, by God, all my life I wanted to be somebody. I was willing to work hard. I was willing to do what was necessary. I wanted to make a difference. And that's why we spent our life basically in law enforcement, Nita as a school teacher. And you sit there and you go like, well, why did you do it? Because I loved it. That's why I did it. I loved it when I left it. I loved A.L.Williams when I left it. I loved what we did. That has nothing to do with it. God just had another plan for me. We'll talk about some of those things, the things in your life. So anyway, you know, we met in 1966 in March on a blind date and got married in October of 1966. This year will be 53 years. And we don't believe in fooling around in anything. We believe, by golly, in you know, getting married, going ahead and getting on with life. And I found out that's the only way I was going to get on with life. So we got married. And to tell you another story, we went and got a marriage license. Nita and me and my mama. Because in Texas, you had to be 21 to get married, and I was only 19, but you only had to be 18 if you were a girl. So my mama had to sign for me to marry her. She stole me at 19, okay? And then 3 years later, in 1969, our daughter Alana was born, who just turned 50 last month. Hard to believe. And then during that time right there, we were graduating from college in the summer of 69. Things were great. I loved college because I got out. And I think I'm probably, a true story, I think I'm probably one of the only people that graduated in 4 years that was on SCO Pro 4 times. On SCO Pro, off SCO Pro, on SCO Pro, off SCO Pro, on SCO Pro, off SCO Pro, on SCO Pro, graduate. And 2.121. And damn proud of it, okay? Because I'm just glad to be out. 2.121. You know what my question always was? I screwed up somewhere. I could have made at least one more D. And, you know, it still got the same degree. It really never mattered anyway. So now we're out of school. Great things are happening. I took a job with a corporate company, U.S. Steel, and we thought, man, we're on the road to success. I was a management trainee. What that meant is I need some coffee, and would you go run this errand, and would you do whatever? And so we did that. And then in November of 1969, things changed in our life. I don't know if y'all have ever heard this story or not, but I won the lottery. Unbelievable. And in January, I got to say, yes, I do. I will protect my country. And I took my oath in the U.S. Army. That was the lottery I won. That's why I've never played another one, because the only time I played, they took me away for 2 years. And so I didn't figure I wanted to do that anymore. So after we got back from the Army, they gave me a job back, but it wasn't in Texas. It was in California. We went to California. Bless any of y'all's hearts are from there, but it didn't fit this old country boy. And we came back to Texas, didn't really know what we were going to do. But I had an idea, and because when I was in college, my last year and a half, or almost 2 years, I was with the Nacogdoches Police Department in East Texas, and I loved it. I went down and applied for a job while I was in college because we needed to eat, and I was actually applying for a job as a dispatcher. I thought, and I went down there anyway, and I came home that night, and I told Nita, I said, hey, Nita, I got the job. She said, really? She says, when do you start? And I said, well, I start training Monday. She says, good. I said, but I'm not going to be a dispatcher. She said, really? I said, no, I'm going to be a police officer. She said, you're kidding. Nobody's going to give you a gun, you know. Well, they trained me for 3 days, gave me a gun, a car, you know. There were times within the first month or two, I was the only guy on the street in Nacogdoches, Texas. And my prayer was, God, don't let anything happen, okay? Because I didn't know what I'd do, okay? And then when I was in the Army for the 2 years, we were blessed. It was the Vietnam War, but I didn't have to leave the country. I stayed actually at Fort Polk, Louisiana. That was assigned to the MP company. I got to make a difference there. There was some guys there that actually were stealing from prisoners in the stockade because I had a degree in accounting. They called me in, let me do a little undercover work. And then I got to be a testifying person at their court martial and actually got to get on a plane with them and fly them to Fort Leavenworth and send them to prison for stealing people's money. So I was liking it. It was right in my element, you know. Policeman, military police, come back to Houston. So the Houston Police Department, there we are. Finally got a good job. Great things are happening. Nita's teaching school. 1974, then Alan was born right after I went to work for the police department. And life is good. I'm going to graduate school and did really well there. I really did because I liked it. I got my master's degree in criminal justice, police administration. And one of the reasons I did, I had the GI Bill. And I was getting $400 a month, $398 a month actually, to go to school, take 2 graduate courses a semester. I'd drive up to Huntsville, Texas to Sam Houston, go to class, and go back to work, go do my other extra jobs, go do whatever I had to do, and work my shift. And did that because it paid good money and it was tax-free. And so I always said, you know, if I could just get an opportunity to do some great things and make some money, you know, we'd maybe start our own business. We'd do something that would be really special. I got my real estate license, and then every 2 years or so, we'd buy a house, sell our house, build a house, sell it, move. We did that about 5 times during that time. And all I wanted to do when I was working my 20 years in Houston was work 20 years, civil service job, and then you could retire on 50% of what you couldn't live on 100% of. But I thought that was good pretty then, okay? So there's a lot of people that think that. You know, if you can't live on what you're making, how are you going to live on less of it? And you go, I don't know, but I'm going to go there 18 more years. Well, that makes sense, right? Then we'd been there 8 years. Nita comes home from school. She's teaching. And she says, my assistant principal wants us to come to a meeting. And I said, well, la-di-da-da-da, you know, what kind of meeting? She says, I don't know, it's something about going into business for yourself or something. That's about all she'll tell me. I said, Nita, that's Amway. And I have a job Tuesday night anyway. I'd lose money just to go sit in an Amway meeting, and we're not going to do Amway, so why would we even go? And she goes, okay, I'll tell her no. So anyway, we didn't go for about 6 weeks. And then finally Nita comes in, she says, Neal, you know, it's one of those things I told you a while ago, when she says things that I didn't really want to hear, but she told me things that I needed to hear. And she said, we are going to a meeting Thursday night. And because I'm tired of telling her no and making up excuses, so let's go. So we did, and we walked into a room. It was full. And I'm going like, what in the world is going on here? My police mind is working. I'm going like, there's something illegal going on in this place. There ain't that many happy people in Houston in one room, okay? They're smoking something, popping something, something's going on, okay? And I said, so we're going to hang around here, and I'm going to probably be out here tomorrow night. We're going to call a paddy wagon, load the whole friggin' place up, okay? And I'm not really lying to you. And so anyway, we sat through the meeting, and here comes a guy out in a few minutes, and he goes, you know, how many of y'all ever thought about selling life insurance? And I mean, I thought it was a joke. And he goes, that's what we do. We show people how to buy the right kind of life insurance. I leaned over to Nita, and I said, crap, I wish it was Amway, you know? I said, we are insurance poor, you know that. So anyway, we sat through the meeting, and she had poked me a couple of times, and she said, is that what we own? That sounds like what we own. I'd look at her with that, you know, that look. Are you kidding me? I got a degree in accounting and economics. I wouldn't buy anything like that. She says, good, because it really looks bad. We go home, we're about home in about an hour from the end, and she goes in and gets the kids ready for bed and get ready to whatever was going on, and she comes in a minute and catches me in the closet. You know, I felt like I was looking at a dirty book or something, okay? I didn't want her to catch me in the closet. I had our most valuable possessions that were in our shoebox, off the shelf in the closet, on the floor. I was reading our insurance policies. Crap, okay? Cash value life insurance, die, you don't get your cash, you're paying for this, it costs too much. I had 6 policies on me that added up to $85,000, 5,000 on her, and 10 on each of the kids to send them to college. If one of them died early, you know, you could send the other one. And you go like, how in the world did you sell somebody like that, okay? And my deal was this, you know, if they stayed a long time, you still bought. If they stayed a short time, you bought. So basically when they walked in, I'd say $20, $40. And so at the end of that time, those 9 policies, we were spending about $180 a month. I had $85,000 worth of coverage on me, 5 on her, and 10 on each of the kids. We looked at it. I saw it was wrong. Did a little check-in the next day. I was over at that time at the police department. I was over the Crime Information Center. And so I actually had that night at the opportunity meeting, got a few names and addresses and phone numbers and where the office was and everything. Because they were in there talking about, you know, well, everybody, you see they got folding chairs? That's so they can move quick. And so my deal was I just hope they're there tomorrow night because that's a lot of good arrests right there, okay? So anyway, we ran our checks, and back at that time, that was in December of 1979, and I can tell you, Art had a speeding ticket in Valdosta, Georgia, and even years before, and I don't think it was on his scooter, but it might even have been on his scooter, I don't know. But when I sat there and I go through that, and I found out, you know, it's really okay, and I think there was a little bit of it on the video, but I actually went to see my insurance agent, and I was very serious with what was going on. And real serious. And I told him we were going to play a game. I'm going to show you mine because you sold them to me, and you're going to show me yours. And he goes, excuse me? And he said, well, I don't know if my policies are here at the office. And I said, well, where are they? And he says, well, they may be at the bank. I said, well, we'll go to the bank. We'll go to your house, but you're going to show me what you own with your name on it. I said, because if not, you see this 44? I said, it makes a hole about that big going in, but one about that big going out. And depending on what you tell me and show me will depend on where the hole is. Because if you're looking at me, the little hole's going to be in the front, but I really don't care if you're running. I'll shoot your ass in the back, okay? And I said, in Texas, you can do that. Because in Texas, all you have to be is in fear of your life, and you can actually take the life of another. And so I told him, I said, you scared me to death. And if you make any overt moves, I will consider it a threat on my life. But I wasn't laughing, okay? I was serious. And so we replaced all of our policies, and you know, and I thought I was the only stupid guy in the world, and I went in there, and I started asking a few guys around. I said, you know, do you own life insurance? Yeah, we're all policemen. You know, it was about 4,000 of us that time in Houston. And I said, you do own the kind that builds up cash, right? Oh, yeah. I'm going, here's another idiot, okay? So I asked around, and sure enough, so I asked 5 or 6 people, and every one of them was sure, we're sure. We had basically one agency that had handled the police department and the fire department. So they had an ongoing market for years. And so anyway, we went and got our license, and in Texas we had a temporary license, and great things happened. And that was our early beginning, and things were going well for us. We did it right. We had fun. We literally picked up policies by the sack. As it said in the video, I did hear that. I mean, somebody come in that say, I said, you own life insurance? Yeah, is it the kind that builds cash? You know, is it Thames and McLean? That was the agent. Did they sell it to you? Oh, yeah. I said, well, look, bring them to me. I'm going to show you can have more if you live, more if you die. Put your name on it, wrap a rubber band around it. They were dropping them on my desk. I'd come in, there'd be 3 sets here and 4 sets on that side. That went on. So in my first 3 or 3.5 weeks when I got licensed in March, I made 41 sales. So it was pretty good, and I made about 75 sales in my first 60 days. And but I want y'all to know, you say, well, that was a piece of cake. Well, no, I had to sell most of those policies 4 or 5 times because the old son of a guns kept coming back and doing all their crap and doing their deal. And so anyway, as a result of that, I said, I love what we're doing. I love what it is. I love that it's right. I love that we can make a difference. By golly, I'm going to do this. 7 weeks after I got my license, I resigned at the police department. And I was rolling. I was a rep. I wasn't a sales leader. I was a rep. And I came full time. 4 weeks later, Nita was a school teacher. She didn't sign her contract. She finished out the year, which was about another 3 weeks. So at the end of May of 1980, we were unemployed. And we had some family that thought we had lost our brains. And my dad had always said, why are you at the police department with a degree? My dad was a pipe fitter out at Exxon, Humble Oil Refining Company. Worked there 39 years, missed 2 days of work. Thought they'd close down if he didn't go in. And I mean, that's the way he was raised, and that was it. That's where I got my work ethic from, and I appreciate that. And I would sit there and he'd go like, well, you have any benefits? Yeah, I have an opportunity. He says, can you cash that at Kroger? I said, no. He says, well, then, will you have any salary? No. You have health insurance? No, but I ain't sick. But we bought health insurance. And then when I look back on that kind of stuff and I say, okay, 7 weeks and 4 weeks and everything, but you know what the beauty of it was? I promised Nita this. I went over to the credit union because when you left the police department, you had to take your savings out if you had any and pay off your loans if you had any. They would take your savings and apply it to your loan. Well, we didn't have any debt. We had actually done pretty good with that in our lives. And I took out my life savings, our life savings, and we had it there if you needed a tire or a battery or air conditioner problem or whatever. And we had $1,200. Where's that slide? Is that up there? Y'all see what that is? That's $1,200. And the one on the bottom, I think, is a 74, if you can read the date on it. That is the $1,200 I left with in 1980. I carried it in my billfold for years and years and years and years because I promised Nita, if I ever have to use any of that money, I'll go get a job. Well, you know what? I still got it. I ain't never had a job. And if you ever find me anywhere, I always have at least $1,200. It's my safety blanket, And you say, well, why do you do that? I don't know. Why do you do what you do? Why didn't you sell 41 people the first 3 weeks? They still have all that crap. What's different from me and you? Okay? There's more people to talk to today than when I was there. And everybody didn't buy from me, and everybody didn't do it. But also knew this, the worst thing that could happen with me leaving after 7 weeks and needing 4 weeks is I could go back and get a job. And even in civil service, I could have gone back to the police department for 2 years. Now, I wouldn't have got my rank, but I could have gone back to school go back to the police department for 2 years and not had to go to the academy. Now, we were making some money and some good things were happening, but I knew this. It was just a simple math problem, what we did. You know, walk into somebody's house and say, look, this is what you got. And, and I can show you how you can have more if you live and more if you die. And I'd look at with a couple sitting there and I'd go like, if something happened to you and to your family, would you rather them have 30,000 or 150,000? And the guy would, sometimes the guy would go, well, I said, I ain't talking to you, you're dead. If he's dead, would you rather have 30 or 150? I never had a wife pick 30, okay? So that was a plus. That was a pretty good deal. And then I look at the guy. And if you live too long, you need more money. Would you rather have that 18,000 or would you rather have 200,000? And you can both answer that one. It's 200. I said, well, that's what we do. We give you more if you live and more if you die. You got a policy over here that you only get one. You don't get two. And if you pay for two and you get one, that ain't good. I said, you ever been to a dadgum shoe store where they had a 2-for-1 sale? They go, yeah. I said, you like them? Yeah. I said, well, if you went into a 2-for-1 store and you got home and you opened up your shoe box and you only had one shoe, what would you think? You'd think, well, I got screwed. Well, you did. Okay? You know it was a 2-for-1? No, it was pay for 2 shoes, but you get 1. So you go back to the grocery, you go back to the shoe store, and you go like, hey, I went home with my 2 shoes. They said, yeah, it was a 2-for-1 sale. You want to buy the other one? Going like, no. I said, well, does that make sense to you? No. I said, well, if it doesn't make sense to you, let me help you. Take your dang shoes off. And if you went to the shoe store and you bought a pair of shoes and you went home and you got 2, is that good? That's good. If you went home, you got 1, is that good? No, it ain't good, all right? Well, then here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you how if you do a 2-for-1, that you get both. And the guy goes, well, that makes sense. And then he'd sign up, he'd buy. And then he would tell me about some of his friends. And we would talk about referrals, and we'd talk about recruiting. And one thing I loved about the daggum policeman, all worked a lot of extra jobs. And it's working a lot of extra jobs, good things happened. We worked tough extra jobs, $6, $7 an hour. So I was never bashful, and I learned that from Art. You'd sit down there with somebody, and you go like, we just showed you how to make more money, save more money. Do you like what we did? Yeah, I like what you did. Don't you think we're to tell your family and friends? They go, yeah, great. What, would you loan me Jimmy for a couple of nights, let him go with me? Well, yeah. I said, because see, we just sat down here and did this, and I made $275 or whatever it was. And they're going like, you're kidding. I just worked in a bar last week for $6 an hour. You back up in the corner and hope nobody shoots you for $18. I said, no, so you get a big list, and we'll go see a lot of people. So we did that. And then as a few months went by, things happened like we all know about. Old agents come back, they run through their story, they lie, they cheat, they steal. And one of the things that happened to me early that really, actually, I went past conviction to the commitment stage. And the reason you understand that as a cop, we always loved the arrest, and we thought they should be convicted immediately. And actually, we thought they should go on and go to prison, which is the committed part. And the problem is you can't go from arrest to committed. You have to go through conviction. And you do too. You got to be arrested. You got to get passionate about it. Then you got to get convicted about it. Then you got to get committed about it. And when you get committed about it, folks, nobody can stop you. Nobody can get in your way. I don't care what happens. You go kick butt and you win. So after I'd been in the business about 5 months, had a good friend that I wrote, had a $35,000 State Farm policy. I wrote him. They loved it. Replaced him with $150. About 2 weeks after I delivered his policy, 3 weeks after I delivered his policy, you get those things. I know y'all have never had one of these before, but it was called a chargeback. And I looked at that thing and I saw Joe's name and I went, whoa, that can't be right. So I called him up and he goes, yeah. He said, he came out and he told me about y'all. I said, Joe, didn't he tell you what I told you he would tell you? There were a bunch of crooks. We operated on the, blah, blah, blah. He says, yeah. I said, Joe, you know me, right? This is what I do for my family. Do you think I'd do this to my family? No. Well, why would you think I'd do that to your family? Well, I don't know. I said, well, I'll be back out there. We're going to get your policy. We're going to get it back. We're going to get you reinstated. And you're going to, he says, okay, I'll do it. So I went back. We reinstated his policy, got it reinstated. About 3 weeks after that, Joe got killed at work that night. Now, the good thing about it is the policy was back in force, got $150 from us, and he got the $35 from State Farm because it was still in force. So they got $185,000 because his agent was a crook. And I was proud of that. And I was proud that I didn't let it go by. And it didn't bother me a bit to go back and resell somebody if I knew that what they had was bad and I knew I could help them. So now I knew that, this is not bad. This is some good stuff. And I said, someday, something good's going to happen. We're going to continue to make a difference, and we're going to get out there and get after it. All my life I've been blessed. I worked at the police department in college. I worked as an MP in the military, and then worked the 10 years in Houston. And I wouldn't take anything for them, folks. I didn't hate my job. I loved my job. I didn't mind going to work. I was glad to go to work. I finished graduate school, and I did great in graduate school because it was what I wanted to do. And then when I think back about it with field training and all the things we did, field training in the police department was real simple, okay? And so I'd been field training all my life, and all the years I was on the street, they'd put a new officer with you, and you'd go field training. And what was field training? Well, the great thing about it was, it was all cold calling, right? You normally didn't tell them you were coming, all right? And then the great thing about it, all the citizens where you work provided you a market every day. There was a market out there. And then you teach them, when you go up to the door and you don't ever stand in front of the door, you stand to the side of the door. Police! I can still do that. I still don't stand in front of a door. Doesn't work for me, all right? I get over in the front of the door, but now you go out there and you do that. And we use the drop-by method. See, some of y'all don't even know what the drop-by method is, okay? It's the same way. If I've got a warrant for somebody, I don't tell them I'm coming. I do the drop-by, stand to the side of the door, I holler police, and if they don't answer, you kick it in, you go drag their butt out. And it works pretty good, okay? And we got to build a team like that, and we had other field training officers. And then you go out there and you find somebody that's done something, and you'd introduce yourself and say, I'm Sergeant Askew, and here, I know we had a problem here, we had a shooting, we had a cutting, we had a whatever, who else was involved? That's referrals. Okay? And then you do things like this, well, where are they now? Well, I'm not sure, but I think they are. I said, great, that's where we're going. Get in my car, okay? I would take them, and we'd go do the drop-by method again. And we'd do there, and then, I tell them, I'm going to give you a reward for doing this. Now, here's your reward. You help me, you get, 10 years. You don't help me, you get 20 years. You want to go with me? Then get in the car, no problem. How long did you do that? Over and over and over until you had a qualified field-trained guy. Okay? So that's all it was. So we got into A.L.Williams. They said, go field training. I said, this is a piece of cake. Do I have to carry a gun? People going to cuss on you? Do I have to shake them down? Do I have to check their nasty pockets? Do I have to grab drunks? No. Do they shoot at you? Don't think so. So here's what we did. We got to tell the truth. We got to make a difference. We'd go out and correct the right or wrong. Go after the bad guys. We go with them and help them build a team. We go out and work their warm market. No cold calls. Never cold called in my life, folks, in A.L.Williams. Always with a referral market. We recruit them. We'll go work their rewards. And then the reward we would give them would be, if you live, we give you more. If you die, we give you more. That's the way we do it. Great things are happening. Repeat it over and over until you have a qualified field trainer. Then I worked in recruiting for 3 years in the police department. What did I do there? People came down and applied for jobs, and we had about 15 of us that did the backgrounds. And we did a total background. Real simple. So I'd go out and check their referrals. So it was not a tough deal. We did the same thing. We hired 4 and 5 pointers. We didn't hire bad people. We didn't hire lazy people. We didn't hire bad people. That was the big deal. Good things in store. We became a crusader against crime and or evil. I actually believed, guys, I was naive enough to think that at some point in time, back in 1980, that we were going to begin to be able to put cash value life insurance agents in jail. And I still think they belong there, okay? And I think a lot of bankers belong there. I was talking to my bank the other day. I made a comment to him, and he says, well, you could do a CD with somebody. I said, how many do y'all own? This was just 3 or 4 weeks ago. He said, well, I said, I know you don't own any CDs. Bank just sells CDs. They don't own CDs. That's why they give you a sucker when you pull up, or a piece of bubble gum to stick behind your ear or some crap, okay? Don't let them do that stuff to you. So anyway, in 1980, we got promoted to RVP in December of 1980. We thought, man, we have arrived now. We were living in our barn, and we had sold another house, building another house with some land we had bought. And got promoted, and we were just pumped up. Everything was going well. My upline and several of the bigger guys in the company left. And what happened then was I'm out, going like, what in the world are we going to do? And Art calls Nita. She answers the phone in the barn. Art tells her, you know what? All I know is we got a chance to do something big. We got a chance. That's all we got's a chance. We probably ain't good enough, but y'all are. And if you stick with it, someday you're going to be somebody, and you're going to be financially independent. Great things are going to happen for you and your family. And we want you to stay. We hope you do, but the decision's yours. You've got to make that decision. And we stayed. Folks, we don't regret it. We never, ever regret it. And we'd go sit in a meeting and we'd listen to Art talk, and he would talk about, man, you want to be somebody if you're the right kind of guy, and if you're willing to work hard, and if you're willing to do that, and you're willing to make a difference in life, by golly, you're going to be able to make it in this business. Well, I knew, right? I knew he was talking to me, and he was talking to some of these guys and gals up here you just saw. I knew that, but there were a lot of people that I don't know what they thought. But all I wanted was a chance. And A.L.Williams was a way of life. It was different. It was unique. And we wanted it to be that way. It was a crusade. It was a war. It was a battle. And it wasn't supposed to be easy. And we always said if it was easy, everybody would do it. Son used to say all the time, boy, do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. And I'd go like, what? Say that one more time. Do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. And I'm going like, that's pretty dang simple, you know. And then I heard a couple of other ones in my life that were things like this, you know. Everything cometh to he who waiteth, as long as he who waiteth worketh like hell while he waiteth. Okay. And then I heard things like, you know, more people die from worrying than working. That's why we understand that more people worry than work. So why is that? You know, I don't know that's why. I also knew this, and I found this out in real time. Or you say, you got to keep them coming, you got to keep them going. And so I symboled it up. I said, you got to change the people around you, or you got to change the people around you. Because that way you only have to learn one line. Okay? Try to keep it simple. I'd go to those meetings, and you know, just like this, you notice I got my new T-shirt on. I ain't stupid, okay? I was hoping I was going to get a T-shirt this week. This is what we used to fight for. I didn't care. I mean, it was wonderful to make great money, but it's also wonderful to get a T-shirt and get recognition. So anyway, A.L.Williams got better. Company got better. We got better products. Great things started to happen. The industry continued to still lie and carry on, but we kept beating their butts year after year after year after year. And it was a battle, and it was a war, and we were proud of it. And we were crusading like we meant it. We were crusading like we loved it. And we wanted to find a few others that wanted to be somebody. If we did that, we knew good things were going to happen for all of us. Company made tough decisions for us. There were always things that were needing to be changed, and Art and Bo did that. Thank God for Art and Bo and Angela. I think back on Bo's deals. I used to spend a lot of time with Bo. And Bo would always say, Neal, save your money, save your money, save your money. Don't buy this, don't buy that. One of these days you can buy that every day. He was right. And good things happen as a part of it. One of the other things that I remember Bo saying too is whatever you do today, if it was on the front page of your newspaper tomorrow, would you still do it? Pretty powerful, folks. Whatever you do today, if it was on the front page of the newspaper tomorrow, would you still do it? I also know this. I watched a lot of people leave, different ones, you know, they're going to go build it bigger, better, going to do all those kind of things. It was always the salespeople. It wasn't the crusaders. And they'd sit there and they'd go like, well, I got a bigger contract. Well, so what? You know, we'll see how you're doing in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Never saw anybody leave and do that, but it was always for the money. I never, ever, ever, ever thought that Art did anything but to do it for the company. I never, ever believed Art ever did anything. There was just more money for Art. Did it for us, did it for the clients, did it for our world. Others left, thought they could make it, but you know what? Art keep telling us, someday we're going to have a chance to make it big. Someday we're going to have a chance to be somebody. And then I want you to know that over the years, you know, great things happen. It's fun to be in a crowd like this. I mean, y'all understand it. Y'all love the company. I've got 3 notes that I got. There's the first note, and they're going to be in order. And I mean, y'all, you know, we called them go-go letters, and I've got them. And that first one's up there, you know, and that was August of '82, and it says, you're very special. And then the next one, it says, you are the best. And then the third one says, you are the best ever. Right. See, now that was the letter was fine, but it was the note at the bottom. See, back years ago, Art sent a letter to my mama. And it said, your son's an American hero. My mama framed that letter, hung in her kitchen till she died. I didn't even know he sent the letter. I didn't get a copy. But my mama sure showed it. She came on, she says, look what I got from A.L.Williams. Okay? And I said, look what I got from A.L.Williams. And you know what I've always known? I always knew I was my mama's favorite. And now I can tell y'all I'm Art's favorite too. So anyway, just in case y'all were wondering, I got the letters to prove it, okay? Art gave us an opportunity to be somebody and want to be somebody bad. If we get out there and make it happen, good things can happen to you. Make a difference, do what's right. Have you ever been sitting at the airport, you see a limo drive up, and you walk people coming out of that limo, and you'll hear somebody say, "Who is that?" And they're going, "I don't know." And then you see a couple more get out, and they're going, "I don't know. Who is that?" And inevitably somebody in the back will say something like this: "I don't know who it is, but it must be somebody." Don't you want to be somebody? Don't you want to be that one? Okay, and it doesn't mean that you have to be wealthy and all those kind of things. What it means is that you got to do something that you're proud of. You know, I don't know if I grew up on the coast in Texas, and people would go out and go crabbing. And you catch all the crabs and you put them in a big tub. And you say, "Would you have to put a lid on the top?" No. You just put them in the tub because crabs are like people. Okay? You put them all in there and they all get in a pile. And if one would try to get out of the tub, go be somebody, those would pull him back in. Never had to, and if you get more than that, if it got full, you get 2 tubs. And so the world's full of crabs, okay? They're always trying to pull you back in. Don't let the crabs jack with you, folks. You go be who you want to be. You go become proud. You don't be a prairie chicken. You go soar with the eagles. And I guarantee you, you can have some great things happen to you. And if you get out there and save your money and do those kind of things like we were said, you'll have an opportunity in your life. You know, there was an old Johnny Paycheck song that said, "Take this job and shove it." And I mean, some of you maybe wanted to do that. I never had a job. I said, "Take the job and shove it." I didn't do that. But Art also told us, you know, you put yourself in a position where nobody can do this to you. You know, you put yourself in a position financially, nobody put their thumb on you. You can tell the whole world to take a flying leap. Well, I never told the whole world to take a flying leap, but I did tell one Italian dude. And I left here, and it was a pretty good feeling. You know, because, you know, I left in 1998, and I was just asking Randy the other day, I said, "What's the code number paid out?" You know, because he said, "A little bit over 17 million. Folks, I haven't talked to anybody since 1998. And it still paid out 17 million. Okay? Now, and I know that there's other great things happening out there. Folks, why would you not get passionate about this and do some things that are unbelievable? We've been able to do unbelievable things. We've been able to have a lot of fun. We've been able to take great trips. We've been able to load our families up, our mamas and daddies and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, and go to Hawaii and Europe and the world, cruises. And why? Because we want them to make life experiences. Life's too short to just make a living. So we get out there. But I want you to know this. I always loved A.L.Williams, and I loved A.L.Williams because we believed in God, family, and business. And that was important to us. And it's still important in our lives. And as a result of that, you know, when I'm going like God, family, and business, okay? Cash value life insurance is just not any good. The products are any good, blah, 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 right? And I'm sitting there and going like, you know what? God knows the difference between cash value and term. God knows the difference between good products, bad products, and super products. It's time to get some super ones. And he's always watching. Art drilled on it a little bit there a while ago. He said, you know what? Primerica ain't like A.L.Williams was, but it can be. But I'll say this much. It's up to y'all to make it happen. There's no strings attached now. Primerica's owned by Primerica people. You can't blame Citi anymore. It ain't their fault. If you ain't beating Prudential's butt, shame on you, okay? Why not? If Bobby Buisson's group can beat Prudential, why can't Primerica? See, I don't understand that. Crazy, crazy, crazy world we live in. But I do know this too. Life's too short to waste it, okay? Pay attention to me. Close your eyes, every friggin' one of you. No open eyes. We're not going to have an altar call. I'm not going to raise hands, okay? But I want you to close your eyes. I want to ask you something. I want you to think, because you always think better with your eyes closed. You got any regrets in your life? You got an unfinished bucket list? Did you hug your spouse and your family this morning before you left? Did you tell them you love them? Are you ready for eternity? Time doesn't slow down, folks. There's no do-overs. Make it count. Open up your eyes. I don't know what those questions mean to you, but I know what they still mean to me, and I ain't through. I've been busy ever since I left here, and I'm still busy. And I still will continue to do things that I think make a difference. We were able to be involved at Liberty and made Liberty the largest Christian university in the country and the largest online nonprofit in the country. I'm working with a school now in San Antonio, and as a result of that, they've got a new plan, and they've been in force now for a pretty good while, where you're graduating with your bachelor's degree in 28 months with a 90% graduation rate and a 90% employment rate in your field within 90 days of graduation. So it works. We're having some good times, and I love it. But I want you to know this, okay? I want the good Lord to be proud of the way I've lived my life. I want him to be proud of what we've done. I want my family to be proud. I want to be proud. I want Nita to be proud. I want my grandkids and my kids to be proud of what we've done. I want to finish well, and I want to do that, and I want to live my life in a way that pleases God, so that one day, not someday, but one day, I hear that good old deal, hey, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Come on in and share your master's happiness. Got a little tune. Listen to a little tune.
And he said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying. Like tomorrow was a gift and you got eternity to think about what you do with it. What did you do with it? What did I do with it? What would I do with it? God.
Let me tell you something, folks. That's a powerful song, and I thank Tim McGraw for helping me sing it. But my closing line to you is this. Live every day like it's your last, and one of these days you'll be right. We love y'all. We thank you for having us. Thank y'all.